My name is Dawn David, and we welcome you to our webinar, Native Drug Rehabilitation Projects, The Path to Healing Ourselves. A look at how ANA SEDS funds are being used to support drug treatment centers in Native communities. A little background on the Administration for Native Americans. The Administration for Native Americans is a program located within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services under the Administration for Children and Families. ANA serves all Native Americans, including federally recognized tribes, American Indian and Alaska Native organizations, Native Hawaiian organizations, and Native populations throughout the Pacific Basin. ANA promotes self-sufficiency for Native Americans by providing discretionary grant funding for community-based projects and training and technical assistance to eligible tribes and Native organizations in 3 program areas: Social and Economic Development Strategy, or SEDS, Native Languages, and Environmental Regulatory Enhancement. You can find much more information on the ANA website, and their ANA website is located on the bottom of the screen at www.acf.hhs.gov/ANA. And a little background on our Eastern Region. We are the Eastern Region Training and Technical Assistance Center, a resource of the Administration for Native Americans. We provide free training in the areas of project planning and development, pre-application, and post-award training. And more information is available on our website, located at the bottom of the screen under the Trainings tab. We also provide technical assistance, which is also free. We offer free technical assistance in the area of project planning and development, pre-application, on-site, unfunded applicants, and grantees. And this is located under the Technical Assistance tab on our website. More information is located on our website and our social media sites. So find us on Facebook. My name is Dawn David. I'm the training specialist for the Eastern Region. I've been working with the Eastern Region for almost 2 years. I started out as the Outreach and Technology Specialist, and just a few months ago became the training specialist. Before that, I was a reviewer for ANA for over 10 years, and before that time, my background also includes experience in community-based projects, research, and indigenous rights issues here in my community of Akwesasne. For today's webinar, our goal is we'll be providing attendees with successful practices used by ANA grantees in the area of drug rehabilitation and treatment. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, in 2004, a total of 206 facilities were operated by tribal government or by the Indian Health Service, with 32 states having at least one American Indian or Alaska Native facility. Over the years, these treatment centers have applied for and were awarded ANA funding. Today, we are honored to feature 2 current ANA SEDS grantees that are working in drug treatment centers in their Native communities, one in Oklahoma and one in Guam. They will be sharing their project successes with us, discuss their challenges and the innovations they use to overcome them. In addition, they will address how they integrate traditional culture into their programming. A little background on the problem that we all face in our communities. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, the percentage of American Indian or Alaska Native adults who need treatment for alcohol or illicit drug use in the past year was higher than the national average for adults, which is 18% versus 9.6%. However, 1 in 8 American Indian or Alaska Native adults in need of alcohol or illicit drug use treatment in the past year received treatment at a special facility. Although this rate does not differ significantly from the national average, it does illustrate the need in our Native communities for this type of treatment. With that in mind, we are going to welcome our first presenter, Todd Crawford. He works at the Chickasaw China, and I hope I pronounced that right. I've been practicing all week. Todd currently serves the Chickasaw Nation as the Director of Residential Services. Todd holds a master's degree in psychological services from East Central University. He is a licensed professional counselor and a licensed alcohol and drug counselor in the state of Oklahoma. Todd has over 25 years of experience in the field of behavioral health treatment services. Todd has worked in multiple levels of care, including inpatient, day treatment, outpatient, crisis stabilization, and residential treatment. Todd has had the opportunity to work with diverse populations to include children, adolescents, and adults and families. Okay, welcome, Todd.
Chukma, Sahochafat, Todd Crawford. Hello, everyone. My name is Todd Crawford. Greetings from the Chickasaw Nation and greetings from our Governorville, Anatubby, to all the Native communities that may be listening today. We are excited about sharing with you a little bit about our project and some of the connectedness that we have with substance treatment and recovery here in our community within our boundaries of the Chickasaw Nation here in South Central Oklahoma. I want to share with you briefly just a little bit about our project objectives. So again, with the SEDS grant and the RFA that we wrote for, we have a partnering division here within our tribe called Youth Services, and they really were the group who initially identified the framework for the proposal that we submitted. And what we were experiencing here in Oklahoma in our communities and continue to some degree was as young people aged, a less connectivity to the services and supports provided by the tribe, and quite frankly, some of the wellness and other kinds of activities provided in the community. So as people got older, we saw them less involved in cultural, wellness, physical activities, things of that nature, and we know that if they're not involved in those things, young people continue to be involved in things, and we were seeing greater involvement in things like substance use, some crime, criminal kinds of activities, and other types of things that the outcomes certainly aren't as positive on. So we wanted to focus on promoting holistic wellness within our project, and having the opportunity to help young people primarily who have been identified with substance abuse and or mental health issues, either themselves or in their families. And so we committed youth services because of the mental health substance abuse component, kind of backed away from that, and our division of family services kind of stepped up and took that and guided that more toward providing wellness activities for that particular population. And so here we are doing that kind of work. We certainly want our engagement strategies to be individualized and strengths-based and focused on our Chickasaw youth or other American Indians that live within our communities. And we want to do that in a community-based orientation where not those things just don't happen in our office, but we're actually out in the community with folks assisting and supporting and making those connections and linkages. And then certainly we're very committed to this idea of evaluation and managing the project through the information that we're obtaining from our participants, from our staff, and from our community. So all decision making is processed through an evaluation process, which we'll talk a little bit more about. So moving on, just give you some highlights. Our ages within our project are 13 to 22, and because of our evaluation piece, the ongoing piece of this, we've actually this age range has actually expanded over the last 2 years. it was initially 14 to 20-year-olds, and because of a lot of information actually we were getting from community members, we expanded that to include the current age range. And again, our focus is on young people and their families with mental health and substance use or other family relational challenges. And a huge component to the project, as I've already stated, is this idea of engagement and wanting young people to get engaged in things that promote wellness and or healing and positive outcomes for themselves and our community. So we have an intense focus on cultural enhancement, as the Chickasaw Nation does, and kind of the reclaiming of the Chickasaw heritage and culture here in our tribal boundaries, and then also respecting and learning much about other tribal members who live within our county, and we're serving not just Chickasaw folks but multiple tribal members. So we're learning much and doing much in the area of not just Chickasaw culture but other American Indian folks that live round about us. Again, our focus here in the Chickasaw Nation is on family. We believe healthy families make healthy communities, and so that part of that engagement is engaging the family and being involved in enrichment activities, and then of course a very strong focus on educational and vocational support. So the Chickasaw Nation is a firm believer in what we call hand-ups for folks and not handouts. And we've seen over the last 15 years here in the Chickasaw Nation actually our emphasis on education and vocation. In fact, Chickasaws now in our boundary areas have a higher level of education than actually the general population does. So we're very excited about seeing those shifts, and so that remains a strong focus. Let's talk just briefly about eligibility. We talked about the age group. Certainly we want to have family members involved, and that's an important part of this project. So anybody who's accepted to the project must have at least one family member willing to participate. And the good news here is that the individual kind of gets to determine family member or family members, if you will. In our culture and heritage here, family is a pretty broad term, and so we're respectful of that and actually encourage those kinds of things. And then again, we want them to be involved must be involved in at least a handful of wellness activities, and there are many things from culture, humanities kinds of things to acting and art and music and education, vocation. There's lots of physical wellness. We have cooking classes. There's lots of things that we can get young people and their families involved in that we believe are going to be forward moving and enhance their overall wellness. And then certainly because of our emphasis on families and young people with mental health and substance abuse services, we're going to be requesting and ensuring that they're involved in treatment services at the appropriate level of care of need. And so that kind of leads us into more of a conversation about kind of how we determine that need. And so we have a pretty rigorous assessment process here, and part of this assessment piece is to help us gather the information that's going to help us develop a wellness plan, but then also help us collect some important evaluation data as well. And so here's some of the tools that we use through the assessment process, the American Indian Culturation Scale, or the AIES, which is kind of a pan-Indian tool that's available out there, and really assesses several domains in terms of involvement in particular activities. Now, this tool isn't Chickasaw specific, so we have some variability there, and we recognize that. But this does give us kind of a baseline and give us an opportunity to kind of measure at least involvement in some cultural activities as people move through our program. We also use the FACES, or the Family Adaptability and Cohesion Scale, the 4th version, which is a nice tool to use that not just the participant completes, but anybody they've identified as family members. So in some cases we have 2 of these, in some cases we have 6 of these completed, and it gives you a really nice look at how the family is functioning on multiple domains, and we'll talk a little bit more about those domains here in a future slide. We also use a clinical tool that's called the Practical Adolescent Dual Diagnosis Interview, or the PADI, that was developed. Actually, there's a new version that just came out with the onset of DSM-5, and this is a really nice clinical tool that gives you good information about mental health and substance abuse issues with young people, and provides a nice set of information for a diagnostician to kind of nail down a behavioral health diagnosis if one is potentially present. So we use that tool, and then we also use the Level of Care Index, or the LOCI, and this is a really nice tool that follows ASAM criteria and helps determine, okay, if they need services, what's the most appropriate level of care that those services should be provided on. And then clearly we engage in lots of conversations and gather information from a biopsychosocial and spiritual assessment, looking closely at a number of domains across the board involving the participant and their family in that conversation. And all of these culminate into a wellness plan that helps guide the process, and we check for progress regularly. And then we use some of the funding that we've been able to obtain to provide incentives for moving forward with goals and objectives on their wellness plan. So that's been a nice piece, and of course any of us that know much about contingency management know that when we make progress, we like to be rewarded for that progress. So let's talk a little bit about some of the connected treatment services that are provided to folks. I've mentioned the Department of Family Services, where this project resides. We also provide several levels of treatment services care right here in our tribal boundaries, and one of these levels of care certainly is outpatient services, where we call navigation, it's traditionally called case management services. And so here the young person and their family meet a navigator, or somebody who's going to help connect them and guide them through the systems of services and supports within our community. And sometimes we have to reach outside of our community for some of those things. So they're that engagement strategy, that connective face and voice and body to help through the process. Within the framework of outpatient services, therapy is provided, individual, family, and group therapy based on the needs of the individual. We provide psychoeducation around drug and alcohol use and abuse and dependency. We also make referrals to community self-help meetings, and then we provide engagement strategies and connect back to wellness activities that are provided right here in our community through our tribe and in other community resources. And again, some of the funding that we receive from ANA actually funds a position in our project called a cultural coordinator, and our cultural coordinator is kind of our cultural attaché, if you will, and provides a number of our cultural activities and in connection back to some of the broader cultural things that we offer here in our tribe, including our state-of-the-art cultural center that we have in Sulphur, Oklahoma. So that's a little bit about what we do on an outpatient basis, and understand all of these services are wrapped on individual need. So in a substance abuse context, and then that would be a focus, a major focus of our work. talk about another level of care that we provide for young people here. We provide transitional living. We actually have a facility here in our tribal boundaries where, again, within the facility we have navigation services. The level of treatment services in our transitional living is at an intensive outpatient therapy level where individual, group, and family is an ongoing part of that process. Again, we provide drug and alcohol education and other psychoeducation kinds of things. Within that program, we provide educational and vocational services, and we actually have an on-site school it's been a tremendous addition to the program in terms of helping young people with credit recovery or moving through the educational process, and then connection back to employment services and other vocational kinds of services that the tribe and is provided within our community as well. And again, on-site occurs cultural enhancement services through our cultural coordinator, and we have developed actually a cultural enhancement curriculum that we developed it, the majority of it last year. We're still working on a little bit of it, and it's kind of going through the tribal approval process so we can share it with ANA and with other grantees and other folks who might be interested in that. But we're using that within our tribal programs currently and working on getting that improved. So we're really excited about that. Certainly our family enrichment services, so it's an addition to the family therapy that we do. There's lots of activities available for families to be involved in at the facility and in the community. And then again, connection to and provision of other wellness services, activity therapies, expressive or experiential kinds of things, wilderness activities, again, cooking and all kinds of important budgeting, all kinds of important things for young people and their families to be involved in. And so let's talk a little bit about what if the need is determined to be a higher level of care. And currently in our tribal boundaries and the services that are provided here in the Chickasaw Nation, for the majority of our folks, we would need to access that kind of outside of our system. So if somebody needed detoxification services or maybe a higher level inpatient services, then we have community collaborative relationships and connections back to other community services. I have residential on the slide here, and that would be for, we would have some residential treatment for people 18 to 22 in the project, but anything under that we would need to go outside of our tribal boundaries to obtain that. And certainly our navigators in our project would provide linkage to that where we would share information to and back from, because we certainly would want those young people as they no longer meet that higher level of care to come back into our program and project. So we would follow up connecting back to existing services. And then again, we have a number of well-established partnerships. And we're very fortunate here in Oklahoma to have an IHS-funded an adolescent residential treatment program. It's actually funded through the Cherokee Nation. It's located up in northeastern Oklahoma, so it's a good distance from us. But we have a great collaborative relationship with them, and they help us out in a lot of instances when we have young people who just have that higher level of need. It's kind of a challenge with family work to go that far away, so we want to continue to support the family here as much as we can and get that young person back into our program and project as quickly as they no longer need that higher level of care. Moving on just to talk briefly about the evaluation component of this, and I'm going to talk to you about this in the context of some of the tools that we use. I'm not an evaluator, nor do I play one on TV. It's an interesting world, and I love and appreciate all those who are good at this. So I'm just going to briefly tell you that we use the tools that you see on the screen as components for the evaluation. On the AIES, we use the summary of the scores, and we look at that at admission, at discharge, and then 90-day post-discharge We also look at a couple of the major components of the FACEs, the satisfaction and communication components, again at those 3 intervals. And then we also pay close attention to, and again, this project was originally written before DSM-5, so we have the GAF and GARF scores that we're still obtaining even now to help kind of measure where folks are when they enter and leave the project. So so we've got a well-defined database, and we have, I checked, we have 72 participants in that database, and should have at least another 30 to 40 over the next year. So we'll have a good 125 individuals that we can follow through this process, and I'm confident that we'll have some good data in terms of how the engagement strategies and some of the wellness activities are assisting us in terms of helping people who have real treatment need in our community. Want to just give you just a slide here on the references for the tools that we provided, so you might review that a little bit more, and certainly we'll have opportunities for questions here in a few minutes. So want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Todd, for sharing your inspiring project with us. As he mentioned, we'll be doing questions and answers after both presenters have completed, so we'll give you more information when that time comes. And if you wish to contact Todd, let's see, throw this up here. Here's his contact information. And this will also be available. You should have received it in your packet with the slides that was emailed earlier. And if you haven't, you can throw us a comment in the chat box, and we'll make sure that you get one sent to you. Next. Now let's welcome our next presenter, Rob Zimmerman. Rob holds a Master of Divinity and is also a certified substance abuse counselor. He also is the executive director of the Oasis Empowerment Center in Guam. Rob and his wife and 5 children have committed nearly 30 years of their lives to working with Pacific Islanders that have made Guam their home since 1995. So with that, I hand over the controls to you, Rob. Welcome.
"5:30 a.m. in Guam, so we're a little bit different in a time zone. It's already Friday morning here, so I just want to say half a day from our beautiful island, and we are very happy to be able to participate, especially since this is really only our first year. We're coming up to the end of our first year with having received our SEDS grant, and our target population is Native American women. So we're focused on adult women, which is a little bit different than Todd's project. But we started, we opened our Oasis Recovery Center in 2004. So it's taken 10 years to develop our project to get it to the point where it was able to really focus on a SEDS grant, or a social economic development program. And over the years, we've learned a lot, and we've focused on a lot of different things. But Guam, just so you know, it's not just a little island that's being overrun by brown tree snakes. See our pretty little island here. And the things that we're focused on with our ladies are really investing in areas where our women have been extremely marginalized and underserved for, well, since the beginning. Guam was originally colonized by Spain in 1521. And then over the years, during harsh oppression and losing much of their language, and Spanish was the only language spoken, those 300 years of colonial life, and then U.S. gained possession of Guam in 1898. But we're far far away from everything in the mainland. We're 7 hours west of Hawaii, of course, and even our location south of Japan puts us way out in the middle of nowhere for many people. But once you get there, it's a beautiful little land, and we're able to see a lot of opportunities in these years developing. With our island being quite remote, there's a very large military presence. You can see as the island goes, you're looking from the south of the island north. And the southern half of the island is really quite mountainous. So there's very little farming land available. Much of the northern part of the island is covered with an Air Force base. And then on the left-hand side of the island, this western area, is the port, and there's a large military Navy base there. But lacking a lot of arable land, there's not a lot of farming being done on the island. And our ladies and men on the island are oftentimes left unskilled, unemployed, underemployed. It really makes it difficult for many of our people to really have a standard of living or the opportunity to earn a living wage that would be able to sustain them and their families. The children in their families are oftentimes going to school without much in their stomachs. They're oftentimes living in a very condensed home situation, and when they get to school, then they find that they can provide access to lunches, free breakfasts, and things like that. When we look at our focus with the other details, many of the ladies that we've worked with have been able to have sometimes a job opportunity, but when we started working with women in Guam, the thrust was finding out ways that we could really support the transition from the drug addiction lifestyle and oftentimes living in situations where there really wasn't very much family support to promote successful or supportive support to their lifestyle, a new lifestyle of sobriety. The drug addiction ended up becoming a way of sustaining their habits. And so even in Guam, there's a lot of our clients, the women have come from a background of prostitution to support their habits. And then their families have oftentimes been broken up through child protective services, intervention, and the children. Some of the goals of our ladies when they come into our program are still trying to establish a stabilization plan so that they can get a job opportunity set up, but two, to reconnect with their children and be able to support their children as well. So some of our ladies have come into the program just simply without any kind of job history. So moving forward to just simply provide some services to help them get a job has been kind of a learning experience for us to look at what are the more effective ways to help our clients, help our women become gainfully employed. So the complexities of the addiction lifestyle has really caused us to think ways for our ladies to navigate from the whole constellation of addiction to moving out of the history of trauma, to deal with the underlying issues of abuse and rejection, having been a victim of all sorts of discrimination, the trap that has left so many of our ladies struggling has disempowered many of them for so long that they've just lost the hope that's necessary to really move forward in life effectively. So we're dealing with some of the clients and the families that have been in our program. We're dealing with trying to prevent suicide while we're moving forward in the program. It's just a very practical, relational, hands-on kind of a situation that we're able to work with our ladies. Guam is unique in one sense because we've got a population of 165,000 people. We're living on this small island. It's only 212 square miles. So we're looking at an island that's 32 miles long by about 8 miles wide. Our population of Pacific Islanders are known as Chamorros or Carolinians from the Northern Mariana Islands. The statistics among our community are that ours suffer about 3 times as many reported rapes per capita compared to anywhere else in the mainland. We have over 45,000 people receiving welfare, 65,000 surviving on some kind of federal subsidy just to make ends meet, because as everything is needing to be imported to Guam, we're just simply facing a lot of difficult challenges to move forward to help people really effectively get a lifestyle that is promoting change. Our addictions counseling program starts with intervening on the whole acute issues of addiction, but the SEDS grant is primarily focused on the economic development side of the program. So once the women are stable after they've completed their initial drug training and the things that, as we deal with the official approaches towards training people out of the addictions world, we're able to deal with some of the opportunities that will lead them towards getting a job, being ready to work, and things like that. We're oftentimes having to refocus and deal with some of the addictive dynamics over and over again, because some of our women, even though they've been able to stay sober and move away from using crystal methamphetamine or things like that, so many of the habit patterns and the dysfunctional behaviors that have become kind of like entrenched and part of that whole addictive lifestyle have just simply left our ladies just kind of repeating the same patterns, and oftentimes even just getting some money back into their pocket, learning to work or helping them get a job oftentimes re-triggers them to relapse. And so we've had to kind of get very practical in our focus, and so much of our stuff as we help our women break that cycle of the addiction and deal with those issues over and over again. It allows us to kind of look at the art therapy that we're able to integrate into the program, the music therapy that we're offering. It's able to really deal with the broken heart issues, the real need that needs to be restored and helped with. But then as we're able to support that, the women are integrating in this group setting. We're using the SEDS funding to maintain a home. It's a 5-bedroom home in the center of the island where anybody that's coming from a homelessness background is able to stay in our transitional house. It's a group situation, so that therapeutic community dynamic really gives that kind of support and encouragement for learning how to live a sober way. So there's a lot of dynamic activities, even community outreach projects that, one, teach various practical skills. This project that you're seeing here on the picture right now was just taking the school bus stop and beautifying it, part of an island beautification program for the start of this school year. And, well, it was a great opportunity for our ladies to just really make a difference outside of the community. One of the themes that we use at our DREAM project is this whole idea of adding value. To create worth or self-worth, to promote that integration and creation of self-worth, we're really having to add value both to our ladies that we work with as well as help them to think of ways to add value in the community. So a lot of the projects that we do, the creative projects, are giving the ladies opportunity to speak about their dreams and tell their stories and look at ways to really make a difference in their life. And so there's so many different ways that we do that. Some of our partners have helped us set up a computer lab, and then we're using ACT's program called Work Keys to help our women fill some of the gaps in their education, either things that they've forgotten from their high school days, or if they dropped out because they got pregnant, they're able to reorient and rethink about the ways that they use. And the Work Keys is really quite good because individuals can use their own pace. They get, when they get in our program, they're given their own password, their login, and because we've had so many partners provide us computers, these computers were donated by a bank, but then also the university gave us a whole bunch of laptops that we were able to use. And so even the ladies in the house have access to use the Work Keys at the home, or if they live in independent housing, they could take one of the computers home and continue to work on those kind of things right there. But some of the things that we're doing as well are even involving games like this to try to teach financial management skills instead of just approaching it from a paper and pencil and trying to outline a budget. We're just simply learning how to invest in life issues and having kind of a broader focus of money management. So the only way to effectively win at this game called abundance is by sharing and by investing in other people's projects, if you will. But the whole community dynamic of working together and being part of our program has been really powerful. We've had other community partners come, like from people that own a Mary Kay business or an Avon business have come and really provided classes about dressing for success and helping our ladies move from just simply being, just feeling like they're survivors or victims to really thinking more confidently and being able to speak more effectively about their story, telling their dreams, things like that. And then we've got avenues that we can give our women job skills right in the program. We opened a thrift store, and that thrift store, one, provides an opportunity to learn those kind of practical-oriented customer service skills and qualities to effectively run a business. So this has been a powerful piece of our puzzle, because without creating jobs for our women, those, especially those that have criminal histories that make it almost impossible to be taken a risk on in the community to be hired, we're able to create the job and provide the support to keep them on track and move them forward in an effective way. So in that rebuilding esteem, rebuilding that sense of self-worth and dignity, the old idea of just getting a new hairstyle or being able to receive a voucher so that they can have new clothes has been a real wonderful thing for them. But one of the other aspects of our DREAM project that we've been really quite proud of is this idea of, when it comes to selecting or considering a vocational pathway, that that our ladies would maybe want to move into, we consider it more like the fact that they need to try that job on for size. See if they are comfortable within that job experience and that job environment. So one of the things that we work hard at is creating numerous and specific job opportunities that really match up with their personal dreams. And so this one lady sitting in the chair, one of her dreams that she really felt she was wanting to work with was to open a canteen, hot dog canteen. Guam is unique in that there's quite a bit of tourist opportunities. And so we just simply partnered with a company that had a canteen in a restaurant and made it possible that she could just work there to get the experience and hands-on opportunity to see if she really liked the job, to see if she liked the sweat and the pressure of doing that kind of food-oriented business every day. And even though that was the identified goal, we've been able to work over these past months to really examine and see if that job really fit for her. And it really has proven that, no, she really didn't like that. So now she's working in our thrift store as an employee. And so it's been a good thing for her. It's been a good thing for all of us to see where her skills really lie, where those opportunities for her life have been more appropriate for her to live in. The other thing that we do at our program is to have a community meeting every month. And this is just one of our monthly microenterprise advisory council meetings. And when our community partners get together for lunch, and then our ladies are able to share the different things that they're developing or learning in the program, they're able to receive feedback from numerous business owners, and opportunities come together in this setting. So just having this lunch and these business owners are sharing their idea, once the business owners are hearing their story. For example, one month we just simply kind of focused it on a networking plan. So every 4 minutes they would switch gears. We had little circles set up. And so these talking circles would give an opportunity for each of the ladies to share what their dream was and where they wanted to go. And the whole idea was whoever had the best story would get selected for a prize. Well, at the end of it, we only had like 2 prizes for the top winners, but one of the community facilitators said, oh, I'm going to give everybody a prize. So she funded a voucher or a gift certificate for everybody to go to the movie theaters. And it was just really neat the way everybody was just so filled with support and compassion for our ladies. The University of Guam has been very powerful to their Small Business Development Center, has opened its doors to us, and without the standard fees or things that go with that, they're able to provide that consultancy and support for each of the ladies that are really thinking entrepreneurial in their focus, to write a business plan, to receive the guidance and the counsel to make that a reality. So that's been really cool. Then we did a challenge this last month with our ladies to just simply giving them $100 to see how well they could multiply that. And the 5 ladies who actually took up that challenge, although it cost us an investment of about $500, over $3,000 was actually created and generated as a result of that project. The one lady, Rosalind Cruz, that she made these beautiful hair flowers, hair clips that just were part of her money-making project, and she did very, very well. And that's part of her microenterprise dream is to have her own business, because she's been stuck in a high-pressure, high-stress job that just simply exacerbates her as being a victim of domestic violence, has kind of contributed to that emotional pain and shutdown where her PTSD has been really difficult, making it so she doesn't even want to go to work anymore. So while she's in our Dream Project, she's also receiving weekly supportive counseling therapy that's, for her, really been powerful to help her move forward in her own life. So our meetings, whether they be, because we have lunch, our ladies are doing the preparation for the lunch and working together to really host the community members that come together. But all of it is tied in with essentially a life skill or learning skill. So to help our ladies really become more health-oriented in their food planning and their food preparation, they're integrating vegetables in their diets because of our program more. And we're really starting to see some positive improvements with both weight management, self-esteem building, and just that sense of quality of life in their journey that we're able to see together happening. Overall, that means that we're able to look at the different ways to just evaluate success. So one of the things that we're evaluating the progress or the impact of our program is just the basic idea of how much money they're able to earn. When they came into the program, we look at the different things from like a global wellness scale to essentially, we kind of adapted a tool that looks at it more like on the overall, how do they feel, what is their overall wellness in the other areas of their life. So we kind of use that GAS format, but we're adapting it to a different approach. Some of the ladies have been able to have these opportunities to just explore new jobs, and it's really been powerful. Because of our relational support, when things are starting to get stressful or emotional for them, they're experiencing just kind of that, if they're being re-triggered, for example, because of our relational support, we're seeing that we're able to really ensure stability and long-term sustainability in both their sobriety and our support for the project. One of the partnerships that we're trying to really work on for our overall sustainability plan is to build this partnership with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. And that project is to really help our ladies who qualify with having some kind of disability, whether it be physical or mental disability, to receive the ongoing support and practical support that will either provide the funding for education or provide the more intensive support with job experiences, and maybe even some seed money for the creation of a microenterprise project. So those are some of the things that we're doing in Guam. Yeah, we've been trying to just maintain ourselves on the various forms of social media. So we have a Dream Center page. Dream Center Guam is our Facebook page, and anybody can link up with that. And we put little milestones of progress and information that's available just through these portals within social media. We have a Facebook page for the Oasis Empowerment Center. We have another one for Hidden Treasures Guam. So we have different tools that people can link up with us. And then we have a web page under the umbrella corporate name called Elam Pacific Ministries. And so anyway, if you need to reach out to us, and if we can offer any help or encouragement to anybody who's trying to explore ways to support their community, support their clients for progress and change, we'd love to be able to help you, anybody.
Okay. Thank you again, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to mention our upcoming webinars. ANA hosts weekly webinars on a variety of topics, including ACF initiatives, program success stories, and application development. Webinars are held every Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and the next webinar will be September 11th, which will be on suicide prevention projects, what can be funded under SEDS. Please visit the ANA webpage to register for upcoming webinars, and the address is on the bottom. You go to www.hhs.gov/programs/ANA/events. And we'd like to thank you again for attending the webinar. This recording will be available and posted on the ANA website in about 2 weeks. To access the webinar, we have the address up on the screen, or you can always go back to the good old ANA website, go to the Resources tab, and in the search box, enter webinar and press enter, and it should bring it up. We'd like to thank Rob and Todd on behalf of ANA and the Eastern region.
Thank you, Don, for the opportunity.
Yeah, we enjoyed connecting.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Anna.